Today at the Wigston Framework Knitters Museum, attending the ceremony of the socks, presenting the Mayor of Oadby and Wigston, with a pair of socks as a peppercorn rent for the museum.
The High Sheriff of Leicestershire, Mrs. Sally Bowie, the Worshipful Mayor of Oadby and Wigston, Councillor Frank Broadley, the Master of the Worshipful Company of Framework Knitters, Stephen Wolfe, and welcome once more distinguished and honoured guests to this most prodigious and historic event, the ceremony of the socks. Pray silence, please, for the chairman and co-director of this charming and delightful museum, and also Vice Chair of Leicestershire County Council, Mr. Bill Boulter. God save the Queen.
Thank you, Joe, for that. I've not got such a loud voice as Joe, but I hope you can hear me. First of all, as Joe says, welcome here to this museum. This is a unique facility in Europe, if not the world. While you're here, please have a look round. It is unique. We've got the Victorian house, we've got frame shops, and of course we've got the garden. So there's always something to see throughout the year. Today is a fun day. This is the annual event of the socks. Originally, when we had the building from the council, we paid the council a peppercorn rent of one sock. That happened for a number of years. And then one mayor, Mr. Michael Griffiths, who is a member of the Worshipful Guild now, changed the rent to a pair of socks. Doubled the rent. Now, these hard economic times, it's not good to have to pay extra rent. And as a memento of today's activities, I'd like to present Sally with a little framed insignia and a bodkin with a little bow on it as a memento of today's activity. So, now I come to the highlight of the activity. If I could ask Lady Gretton if she would present the framed pair of socks to the Mayor. It's rather large, the socks are rather big this time. I think next year they'll be a bit smaller because of the economic climate, we make the socks a bit smaller. But there we are.
Anyway.
Joe David as well for coming today. He was quite short notice, 2 days. He's a retired town crier, but he's come out of retirement today to mark the occasion for us, and I think a round of applause for Joe. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Lady Gretton and the High Sheriff and the chain gang, as we call them, for coming this morning. And please enjoy your morning bath.
Wigston Framework Knitters Museum is a master hosier's house with a 2-story Victorian frame shop in the garden. The museum is unique because when the last master hosier, Edgar Carter, died in 1952, the workshop was locked and left. Inside on the ground floor were 8 hand frames for making gloves, mitts and fancy ribbed tops for golf hose, together with all the moulds and tools associated with each machine.
I mean, you can see the cuffs knitted 4 at a time. You can see where they're separated and joined on to the bar machine. It was fantastic. I wish it was still workable. These have been here since day one.
1890.
1890, yeah. There was a wooden workshop where the new yarn was. two frames in there.
I mean, the wood started in the back room of the house,
Yeah.
and then they moved to another section, then the other one, and then this place built. As you grew, you build on.
The Mayor of Oadby Wigston, Councillor Frank Broadley. And you were saying earlier about the socks and the addition to your family. I mean, your wife has already been Mayor of
Yes, she was married 2 years ago.
You now have 2 pairs of socks.
2 pairs of socks.
As we spoke earlier, it's not the socks, but it's the history that goes
It's the history.
beyond it.
Yeah, it's all part of the peppercorn rental that pays for the council each year.
Part of this is the council now handing over to the trust, and the trust,
Yeah.
the gift from the trust is to pay the peppercorn
Yeah,
rent.
to carry on the tradition, which we've got up.
IC Garden, Director of Garden.
That on the Monday. How many hours a week do you?
Only 2 hours, so we can.
How many helpers do you have there? Many?
6.
Ruth comes, yeah.
There's quite a
It
few.
looks in good nick actually.
I'm in charge of. They're all ladies as well, so I have to be careful. And a pigsty here, and rabbits. They keep rabbits and chickens. It's divided up into sort of a vegetable plot over there, a herb plot at the bottom, and all the fruit trees.
I'm Derek Horsfall. I'm an ex-councillor of Oadby Wigston. I'm a trustee of this museum here, and I also am a member of the livery company in London, the worshipful company of framework knitters. They were formed 350 years ago, in the times of Charles II and also Cromwell. And they actually set the standards for the industry, and they also set up homes for the poor and destitute from the industry. And one of those homes is still running today, the Framework Knitters Cottages in Oadby. And we still support those for people who've been connected with the industry.
How does this museum fit in with that?
This is a working unit kept on as a museum. The other is really like the old almshouses, and still maintained by the guild that was set up in London.
And you've been a member of that particular guild for how long?
I've been a member of the guild for about 4 or 5 years since I came. I spent most of my life abroad in textiles, but it wasn't until I retired back to this country that I joined the guild.
So you recognise most of the machines that you're still there?
Oh, yes.
Or part of them?
Yes, yes. I've seen these sort of machines in China.
Still working?
Incredible, still working.
As this one is?
As this one is here, yes.
Are you a member of it?
I am a member, yes. I'm not of the guild, I'm a member of the Wigston one and so on. And anyway, I think it's such a wonderful occasion, and it's so good to keep all these historical events going. It's so important.
How long have you been involved in it?
I've rarely started since I became Lord Lieutenant, so that's 10 years ago. I haven't been to every sock event since then, but I've been to an awful lot.
Hi Sheriff, good morning, and thank you for coming today. What's your position as High Sheriff?
It's a position that you take up for a year, very much a ceremonial, but your main thing that you do is to look after the judiciary, so all the visiting High Court judges, and you support the voluntary sector, police, and all these wonderful things that you get invited to, where you can shine a light on different charities and things.
So the position of High Sheriff, how long has that been going for?
Years. I mean, it's probably the longest role. I mean, it's a long time.
You would have been appointed by the King, the Queen?
By the King. But obviously in the early years, the role of High Sheriff was, collecting the debts. It was very much more hands-on in your county, whereas now it's very much more ceremonial and supportive role.
So Leicestershire High Sheriff?
Yes, there are 52 High Sheriffs, I think, all over the country. And we have a region which is the East Midlands, and there are 6 of us.
And your position is voluntary, charity? Is that what you support?
Oh yes, you support. You're there to support everything in the county that, well, every charity requires your support. You don't know every charity, you're finding them out along the way. So you come
Like
across,
today.
yes, you come across all sorts of different you wouldn't know existed. It's a huge privilege and a great honour to be asked to be High Sheriff. And I've had so far an amazing year and met some really interesting, really wonderful people doing some amazing and very, very good things out there. And also I've realised what a fabulous county I live in.
Yes, I think so. I think we've just found out what an amazing person that our High Sheriff is.
Oh, you're very kind.
Thank you very much, and it's been a delight to have met you this morning. Thank you very much.
I'm Robert Bowman. I'm Secretary and Treasurer.
Of what, Robert?
Of the Framework Knitters Museum.
Yeah. And how long have you been involved in that?
I've been involved about 7 or 8 years. When it was a trust, Duncan Lucas, the then chair of the trust, asked me to join the trust, and I was involved in converting it into a limited company by guarantee, which we've got. Hence, we've been able to merge the friends and the trustees.
6 years ago, I recently returned to Leicestershire and being a retired architect, I think it was useful to the board to have someone with that background to work for the trust. So I've been here about 6 years and involved on the work of the board. It's been very interesting.
The fact that you're an architect, have you enjoyed working
Oh
with
yes,
buildings?
I mean there are many challenges, and of course it's a fascinating structure, and we've been working recently on trying to discover the origins of the building and how it's put together piece by piece, stage by stage. That has been fascinating in itself.
And how far have we gone back, John, with the building?
Well, the building itself is probably mid to late 18th century, but there's evidence that obviously there are bits and pieces, particularly in the foundation area, where it's likely to be a much earlier building that was converted and substantially altered into its present form.
So it would have been knocked down and rebuilt for a larger family?
That's right, possibly in the 17th century. So it seems quite likely that there was a building here in cottage form, say, during the 17th century at least, and was gradually added to, particularly upwards, as the form that it now is, with a 2-3 story structure.
I look at it for the first time today, and you must be very proud of it.
We are, yes. I mean, obviously, it's a survivor from earlier centuries. Not many buildings of this type exist in the country full stop, but in the Wigston area it's significant, and with all of the features internally, it's a really significant, unique building, which we're very proud of.
The building's going to be demolished, and the council bought it safe from being demolished.
Are we talking when, Bill? What year?
Oh, back in '86, something like that. 1986. A small group of people got together and wanted to open as a museum. It had been shut up and machines had been left where they were. Managed to save that. The council didn't want to run it, so we formed a trust. We actually rented it from the council for a peppercorn rent of £1 sock per year.
As we've heard earlier,
as part of the proceedings. Then one mayor doubled the rent one year, which is painful, understandable. And we moved on from there, and just recently we converted from a trust to a company limited by guarantee. The council is not involved in the building at all now. We have a small loan with the council to keep them on board.
And I've got to go back to John and Robert then. So how is it financed then? How do you finance it?
Well, we finance it by admission charges, but primarily by Friends membership, and we have a small lottery.
And donations.
And donations, yeah.
And maintenance is that done by local people who are maintaining the building?
Yeah, yes. We get local contractors in, to do various odd jobs. I mean, the last thing we had done was a new boiler put in, and we had grant money for that.
The contractor was local. Yeah. So we tried, if possible. to
You're
encourage
very proud to
local-
be involved in it, gentlemen.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
beautiful
right.
building, and we've enjoyed
Yeah.
our morning. And can I just say thanks very much to all of you.